It's the regular season finale. Hello everybody, and welcome back to a brand new episode of our NASCAR Heat 5 Career Mode. I hope you're all having a great day. Today, we are going to decide who makes it into the playoffs and who wins the regular season championship battle between myself and Christopher Bell, which we lead by 13 points. Sheldon Creed in the field this weekend for the colleague racing team, as well as Kyle Weatherman in the 62 for Beard Motorsports. Now, as we got our typical target paint scheme on the car this weekend, as we're going to jump straight into qualifying. But Kyle Larson is back. The number 5, Kyle Larson, has been cleared to race and return from injury. It was a last moment decision for Hendrick to put him in the car as he comes in only 4 points ahead of Carson Hocevar for the last spot in the playoffs after missing 5 races due to his crash in Dover, resulting in injury. We qualify P40, no big deal. Kyle Larson goes P36. Corey Day defied all odds last episode, substituting for Kyle Larson and winning in Chicago, putting his name on maybe the top of the list for potential candidates to have a cup ride next season. Bubba Wallace for Andretti Global on pole. As you guys know, anybody in the top 30 in points can win their way into the playoffs tonight. This is going to be a true nail biter, as just 2 spots are up for points now. Chase Elliott and Kyle Larson hold those in 15th and 16th in the playoff grid as we start all the way from the tail end of the field. But qualifying, as we know, does not matter. Amazon Prime in Daytona, Daniel Suarez wins again this season at Trackhouse over Denny Hamlin and his Trackhouse teammate of Chase Purdy, as you see the finishing order on your screen. As well, we have the playoffs starting soon for Amazon Prime and as well Truck Series. I'll be showing some updated standings for those very soon as well. But now, regular season championship time in Daytona.
This is it, the regular season finale. Kyle Larson returns from injury to go head-to-head with Carson Hocevar for the final playoff spot.
A bold move to bring Larson back in Daytona, but this is their only hope to keep him in the playoffs.
It has been one heck of a season, and it all comes down to race 24 right here before we head into the 12-race playoff. Corey Heim sent to the back, and so is Alex Bowman. Pre-race inspection issues for the 11. The 19 gave up qualifying position for a new set of tires. Now is it's Bubba Wallace and Zane Smith there for Andretti Global and Penske Racing on your front row. Can Kyle Larson make the playoffs? Hendrick made the decision to bring him back as he was cleared, and we're racing. The regular season finale from Daytona kicks off here under the lights now. Ryan Blaney starts P3 behind his good buddy of Bubba Wallace as we head down towards turn 1. This Coke 0400 underway. And now, can we, of course, hang on to this regular season championships? The next question behind Kyle Larson, we know, we have already talked about it. Anybody in the top 30 can win their way into the playoffs. Example, Parker Retzlaff, one Talladega, but he's not in the top 30 in the standings, so he's not in the playoffs, and he cannot make it into the top 30. So Retzlaff, although he has a win as a rookie, he will not be a part of the playoffs no matter what situation is presented tonight. However, take, for example, of course, a 43 of William Sawalich. He's in the top 30. If he was to win tonight, he'd be in the playoffs, and it would kick out Larson no matter what, and same as Hocevar. Chase Elliott will be safe. Elliott comes in about 40-ish points ahead of Kyle Larson in this race. So basically, Chase Elliott has to have a complete no-show. He has to score no points in the stages and only score 1 point in the race to really be in jeopardy of missing the playoffs now. And he's only in this situation because he doesn't have a win. Same for Kyle Larson. Both of those drivers were comfortably in the top 5 in the regular season standings. Kyle Larson missed 5 races. He's back tonight after injury. But unfortunately, the situation is Kyle Larson is being thrown into his worst type of racing. Kyle Larson is a horrible super speedway racer. He has improved drastically in real life, but he has not had much success in the game here in the career mode. So Larson, his worst type of racetrack, he's 4 points above Carson Hocevar, who wants to knock him out and put our junior motorsports teammate into the playoffs. So of course we're going to be keeping a very close eye on that tonight, maybe even more of an eye on that compared to the regular season battle between myself and Christopher Bell. Right in front of us, you got that 11 of Corey Heim. He would love to win his way into the playoffs and join his two 23-11 teammates of Reddick and Blaney, but doesn't quite look like that's going to happen. Here on lap 4, already, of course, a few laps in, and we're still at the very back of the grid, and so is that 5 of Kyle Larson. So, I mean, that is something we really need to pay attention to is stage points, because Carson Hocevar is running up there about in the top 15 or so. So if Hocevar just gains 2 points in stage 1, he will tie Kyle Larson for the last spot in the playoffs. Now, the tiebreaker would go to the 5, so of course Hocevar needs to outpoint him by at least 1 point tonight if he wants to be in the playoffs. Right there in front of us, you got that 00 Kubota Honda Civic of Connor Zilic to the inside of the 60 of Justin Haley. Of course, Zilic continuously been strong all season long. Has had a few wins kind of slip away from him. He still has picked up a win, but you know, you got to think back to maybe the Coke 600. I mean, he was perfectly in line of getting his first win there until things went completely wrong with just a really poorly timed caution. It's hard to believe now we're at that point where we're ending this regular season, just thinking back on some of the season's highlights and whatnot. But here we are, finishing this regular season hopefully on a high note and getting those few extra playoff points to really boost us going into the playoffs this season. I am very confident we are going to make the Final Four for back-to-back seasons. Of course, we did it last season with Joe Gibbs Racing and the all-new playoff format. Didn't quite work out in our favor with that Final Four being 3 races, but we still ended up second in the standings at the end of the day to this guy right here that we're battling again for a regular season championship with Christopher Bell. And that number 20 needs to gain 13 points on us tonight, and as we come towards the tail end of stage 1, neither myself or Bell are in position to score any stage points, which is good for me that he's at least not closing the gap there, as you got the 54 of Ty Gibbs knowing he has to win this race to make the playoffs. He is trying to go forward now, and now I'm trying to get back down to the inside because we're going backwards here on this outside lane. Ross Chastain now to the lead of this race. He DNF'd last time out in Chicago now, and he has been in the rumor mill because it sounds like Trackhouse, as their rumors continue to develop, that they are just in a bit of a downfall, that they could have an entire new roster next season, which would include the departure of Ross Chastain. There is some big seats that are still going to be available. There is still some names moving around as we start this final lap of stage number 1, and we're right to the back of the 20. Kyle Larson still running about 30th, and the problem for him now is Carson Hocevar is into the top 10 on this final lap of the stage, and Josh Berry for Rick Ware Racing takes the lead through 3 and 4 as we're right to the back of the 20 of Bell as he goes up the racetrack a little bit, leaving the door open but shuts it on the exit of 4. But it's Josh Berry winning stage 1 over Jesse Love. How about it, Josh Berry? As Carson Hocevar, where was he? He scores P5. He gains 6 points and immediately puts the pressure on Hendrick Motorsports and Kyle Larson for the final spot. And the gap swings from 4 points out for Hocevar to start to now Kyle Larson is going to be 2 points out of the playoffs behind Carson Hocevar. It's officially game on. The gap in the regular season championship battle does not change. We still are P1, 13 points ahead of Christopher Bell to kick off stage 2. This is such a simple race. It's really straightforward. We just want to beat the 20, win the regular season championship. Kyle Larson just needs to try and beat the 4, and those are really the 2 things we are focused on. But of course, everything changes if we see somebody outside of the playoffs win this race, of course. Now, as we're 3 wide to the inside of the 54 and the 6 of Gibbs and Eckes, right to the back of the 3, Austin Hill, Talladega winner last season. He was one of the very few surprise winners that we had. Of course, this season we have had several surprise winners and first-time winners, and it has been one remarkable season that we have had of NASCAR racing here, and that's just what makes NASCAR great sometimes, is the unpredictability of this sport. And we could go into season 6 next time out, and you know, the last season of the career mode, and we might only see 11 different winners in the regular season compared to the 15, 16 we've had this season. You just never really know, and we have very rarely seen multi-time winners. I mean, of course, the only drivers that have won more than 1 race is myself with 4, Christopher Bell with 3, Joey Logano and Tyler Reddick both with 2 apiece. 4 drivers only have won more than once this season, which means that, of course, this playoff grid is going to be flooded with just one win for a lot of drivers, which is going to make this playoff such a toss-up for just about everybody. I mean, it is going to be so close. One race is going to swing things in the completely wrong or right direction for some of these drivers in this playoff, but it is going to be maybe the most unpredictable playoff battle that we see ever in this career mode, just because of the just so many different winners that we have racked up. So that in itself is going to be quite exciting, but I'm really confident as a caution actually flies. Now it's the 48, Caruth, 2 back-to-back races with some tire issues, and he's going to come into the pits. I'm not sure if that's going to be day over for him or not, but we'll find out here momentarily. Everybody will stay out on the racetrack. Todd Gilliland leads over Ryan Blaney, Barry, Sammy Smith, and Nick Sanchez. Last season, it was part-time Michael McDowell that won here for Front Row Motorsports, but if Todd Gilliland wins today, for example, he's in the playoffs now as we get ready to go back racing now, and we're just shy of the midway point here of stage 2. We're back racing now. Kyle Busch to my inside. Just before the caution, I was saying I was confident that we're going to see a pretty, kind of expected Final Four, and in my opinion right now, the expected Final Four is at least myself and Christopher Bell. Outside of that, I don't really know. I would have to say Ryan Blaney, and then after that, I feel like the fourth car could maybe be Tyler Reddick, which makes him leaving 2311 just so confusing, but nonetheless, 3 wide middle now. Down this back straightaway, the Wendy's machine of Chastain on my outside there. I'm going to actually get help from Christopher Bell into turn 3. Important for Larson. Hocevar now outside of stage points paying position, as we have not ran on the inside lane a lot throughout this race, and not because of really choice, but just because we found ourselves in the outside lane on the original start, this restarts, etc. So of course, if we can get down to the bottom, we will take that opportunity, but we have worked our way up to the top 15, which is quite impressive. So here we are now into the conversation. Bubba Wallace there, your pole winner to the outside. I barely split the gap there in the middle between him and the Tricon driver of Taylor Gray as we get into the back of Sanchez down this back straightaway, and that Andretti Global Honda Civic now, and I'm actually in an Andretti sandwich because there's Wallace just behind me on my rear bumper pushing as we head down into turn number 3, and here comes Christopher Bell with a lot of momentum on the inside here as we continue to try and work our way forward. And I was just kind of putting my car wherever I needed to put it. It's just try and go forward and get a draft from a car a few car lengths further up and pull closer. And now we're 3 wide on the outside with Chase Elliott in that number 9. Elliott is effectively now locked into the playoffs on points. Elliott will make the playoffs. He's going to be okay. The question is, can he maybe end this regular season with a bang and find victory lane in what has been a winless season so far? I doubt we'll see the 9 car in victory lane tonight, as it just feels like we are really building for a wild ending to this regular season now between Larson and Hocevar, myself, Christopher Bell, maybe a surprise winner that puts themselves into the playoffs as we get back down to the inside. How about RFK's Chris Buescher running up towards the front right now in this race as well? Don't rule out Chris Buescher. Don't rule out any of the RFK drivers. Christian Eckes is right there, and that number 6 as well as we go into turn 3, and I had no help from the draft right there, and this would actually continue, and I was still 3 wide on the inside because I would get the draft in the corners. I would lose it on the straightaways because nobody was staying in line with me. They were all going up the track. So eventually Elliott and them, they are going to be able to clear me just because I don't have enough help. So we'll get cleared by them. He'll jump down in front of me, and now we'll be able to kind of settle back in a good position. But right now Chris Buescher leads this race as we roll through 3 out of turn 4, coming to lap 11 of 18 here in this second stage. Looking behind, Kyle Larson on the inside, not in a stage points paying position. I'm sure he wishes this was the final stage and the race was ending right now because he would have more than 2 points over Hocevar. He would be into the playoffs. What a risky move for Hendrick to bring Kyle Larson back in Daytona, but of course they want him in the playoffs. They would have loved to bring him back in Chicago, but he just wasn't cleared in time, and we saw, of course, the substitute driver of Corey Day pick up the win, and actually car on the outside wall. That's our teammate of Noah Gragson, and I didn't notice it at all until the very last second, and I was on the back bumper of the 9 of Chase Elliott. Gregson blows the tire, brings out a caution. I believe we're going to get the restart bug there because there's not a doubt in my mind I was glued right to the back bumper of that number 9. So now we're going to probably be in a situation of trying to stay out of the way. The 48 of Caruth staying out, so of course there you see he was still in this race. Everybody pits for tires outside of the 48 and field as well. And now we're going to be outside, but I don't believe we're going to be able to take off here. We restart, green flag, and sure enough, I can't go. So the goal is just to stay out of the way. This is a lot more difficult on the outside lane. If it was on the inside, I could just pull out off the racetrack onto the apron. So I'm going to hold up a lot of drivers, including the 5 of Kyle Larson, with only 4 to go. But Hocevar is in the same lane, so he's also being held up in this conversation, or in the mix of all of this now, as we are going to be 3 wide. There's Gibbs going to my inside. A lot of 3 wide, of course, that we find ourselves in, just staying out of this way. William Byron goes through. There's Hocevar behind us. He is outside the top 35 right now, and actually it's going to be a good teammate. Going to give me a big shove to get my car back up to speed, and you see in the background there as well, I mean, it's the 00 of Zillage, you got the 18 of Chandler Smith, you got as well the 45 of Tyler Reddick, all running in the back of this field. William Byron down here in 34th. You want to be fighting for as many points as you can tonight, because if you're in the top 10 in the regular season standings, you're getting playoff points for that at the end of the night. So you of course want to get as many points as you can possibly find, as Chris Buescher continues to lead, coming to the final couple of laps here in this second stage. Can he find a way to victory lane? Well, now Chase Elliott has taken the lead down this back straightaway with 2 to go, and this race really hasn't benefited us so far. But white flag in stage 2 in the air. Kyle Larson is outside the top 20 on the outside. You see him right there, so he's not going to gain stage points. Hocevar is too far back to gain stage points. Kyle Busch to the lead of this race, but we know that this already means Kyle Larson is going to start stage 3 2 points behind Hocevar for the last spot in the playoffs. Now, this is just not working out so far for that number 5 of Kyle Larson, as we're right to the back of the 94 into turn 3 of Retzlaff. Now through 3 and 4, Busch jumps up to the outside. He's left the door open for the 23, Ryan Blaney, looking for an extra playoff point now as we exit turn 4, down the front straightaway through the tri-oval. It's Ryan Blaney who's going to come through and win stage 2 over Busch and Christian Eckes. Yellow flies, it's P21 for us. And very important, Christopher Bell doesn't get stage points again, so we maintain the 13-point gap going into the 3rd and final stage for the regular season championship. Eckes in P2 over Busch, Elliott Briscoe 4th and 5th. How about Kyle Weatherman P7, Haley Barry in the top 10, Shane Van Gisbergen, who had so much speed last episode, as we'll get ready to go green after pit stops. Only 1 stage remains in this entire regular season, and it begins now. Green flag is out. The margin hasn't changed. We are 13 points ahead of Christopher Bell for the regular season title. Kyle Larson is 2 points out of the playoffs to the last spot, which is 10th in the regular season points, by the way. Carson Hocevar, who they are now fighting for the last spot in a 16-driver playoff grid. Now as this middle lane works there, we split through the 3 of Austin Hill, and you can see as well somebody up there has pulled out a line now as we get right to the back of the 2 of Todd Gilliland. It's going to be 20 laps to go when we come back around one more time. Heading down this backstretch, here comes Sheldon Creed to give us a big shot to the back bumper into turn 3. Sorry, that's not Sheldon Creed. That's his teammate of Ty Dillon, as Ryan Blaney finds himself in control again. This is the concern that I have with the 23, is it seems like right now, everywhere we go, Ryan Blaney just finds himself running up front. That is the characteristics of a championship caliber team. When this career mode started, it's in the storyline. Ryan Blaney has not won a championship yet in his career, because this storyline started in 2023, the same season Ryan Blaney won IRL. So keep that in mind. Ryan Blaney is not a NASCAR champion in our career mode yet, as we head down into turn 3 now. An opportunity to jump down to the inside. As it stands right now, Kyle Larson's in the playoffs over Carson Hocevar, but does that stand? We, of course, are going to know in about 18 laps time. As you can see, things sorting out in front. Ryan Blaney, Chase Elliott there, 1st and 2nd. I believe that's Briscoe in 3rd, Carruth in 4th now, as I lost some help there again. And Haley is going to jump down in front of us as we run P12. And a lot of disorganization here. It's just not very organized up in towards this top 10. You can see both the lanes there. Just a lot of space between the cars now, as I'm going to force a 3-wide move here to the inside of Haley and get that pole from the 97 of Shane Shane Van Gisbergen now as we'll continue going forward, and I'm not waiting around. To the inside of him we go. We're going to pass Josh Berry. How about Jesse Love, locked into the playoffs there? Of course, he got that win early on in the season in Iowa, and he's kind of faded as the season's gone on. We know he's headed to Joe Gibbs next season, so he'll be in a car capable of winning on a regular basis, and I think you're going to see Jesse Love win a lot of races as we get right to the back of that 97. I, of course, want to win this race to get a 5th win on the regular season. That would be a really good number to kick off the playoffs. Now as we're to the back of this 33 of Love, to the inside of Briscoe, single file through from, 1st to 5th to now 6th. As we would start to spice things up, Caruth went up to the outside, and now I'm going to get to the inside of the 33. We are charging to the front for the first time tonight. Into the top 5, into the top 4. So Wallach looking good again here tonight in Daytona, but we'll breeze by him. He left the door wide open. Thank you very much. Into the top 3 behind Chase Elliott, who's now guaranteed in the playoffs here at the end of tonight. Now he has nothing to worry about. He can go for broke now, as now Ryan Blaney continues to lead this race. He has led since the end of stage 2 as we're right locked to this back bumper of the Napa Auto Parts Cadillac of Chase Elliott, now waiting for the right opportunities. I have so much confidence in this JRM number 8 team, and we have a chance to get another super speedway win. Now we know as well there is still some pit stops to come. We might have a green flag pit stop cycle or under caution, whatever it might be, but we know we have to hit that pit lane one more time. Blaney has left the door open. Chase Elliott into turn 3, looking for win number 1 on the season. To the front goes at number 9, but I want to spoil the party as soon as I can. We got William Sawallich coming up just behind us to give us a shot to the bumper. Gives us some speed after a bit of a side draft from that 23 now as we are coming up on these final 10 laps of racing here from Daytona. To the back now, to the left rear. We pull out a line and look for the lead down this back straightaway against Chase Elliott. Now the fans probably not going to like that one, but nonetheless, we take the lead here in Daytona, and we bring William Sawallich with us, another driver who could win his way into the playoffs tonight. Would love to do exactly that as we exit turn 4. Now we go into defense mode. Can we maintain the lead of this race? Ryan Blaney's coming back up into the conversation here. Caution is out, and it's going to be a tire failure for, I believe that was the 16 of Ty Dillon. And everybody is going to pit for the final time here in Daytona. It is going to be 1 can of fuel, 2 right side tires. We can't make it on half a can, so we're doing 1 full can of fuel, and we'll come in from P1, and through the pit stop sequence, we actually give up 3 spots. So Wallach, Blaney, Elliott, 1st, 2nd, 3rd. We drop to row 2 on the outside, not where I want to be. So not a good pit stop from our team as we get back underway now, and it's going to be a 10-lap shootout to determine your 16-driver playoff grid. And right now, as it stands, Larson and Hocevar are knocked out completely to that guy right there that leads, the 43 of William Sawallich. As we head down into turn 1, Blaney pulls half a car length on the Legacy Motor Club driver. I did not get a great launch there, and you can see the gap between myself and the 23. Blaney's going to fade back. It's a 3-car breakaway, actually, as we exit turn 2. I need some help here from the 48 of Caruth now. Here goes the 98 of Briscoe, and he's got his RFK teammate of Christian Eckes there just behind him as we head down into turn 3. So Wallach jumps up the racetrack, and we're going to get right to the back of this 23, and Blaney's going to force a 3 middle as we exit turn 4. Chase Elliott now in control of this race here, and he kind of chomps the nose on the 23, makes him lift and kind of condensing the field even tighter here with 9 laps to go. Who is going to come out on top? Is it going to be the 9? It's going to be the 98, the 23, somebody else now as we continue P4. Red slap to the inside, and Blaney, what are you doing going all the way up to the racetrack? I should have just forced it 3 wide middle right there, honestly, as we continue behind him, and that was a mistake right there. Yeah, I definitely should have just shot it 3 wide middle instead of trying to stay in line and just reduce the speed. I was afraid of the side draft right there that was going to pull us backwards. Instead, we cost ourselves time either way. Nonetheless, we do it. We force him 3 wide middle. I said, okay, it's time to chuck you out of here. 8 laps to go in this race. It is go time there, but a contact now, and there it is. That's exactly why I didn't want to make the 3 wide move in the first place. He side drafts us. He pulls us back, and look at the cars driving away, and actually Blaney's nearly going to get clear until Eckes gives me a shot from behind, pushes me back forward. I mean, we're bouncing off cars. The intensity is getting higher as we head down this back straightaway. How about Larson and Hocevar? You have to wonder what the situation is there as we go 3 wide to the outside, actually just 2 wide, as now Love's going to run us way up the racetrack instead of go down to the inside contact there with the 33. And now we're going to go backwards there. A self-inflicted error on that one now as we head down the front stretch. And now the intensity, we talked about it, it is high. Elliott leads with 7 laps to go in this Daytona regular season finale as we actually cracked the outside wall a little bit there into turn number 1. 3 wide on the outside to the back of Love. Crash right there behind us, and it's going to be a big crash. The big one, a massive one, strikes several cars involved. Larson and Hocevar are included in others. The caution flies, and it's going to be a late race restart. My goodness. The intensity was building, and it leads to an all-out big one that strikes in turn 1. And now we'll set up for a late race sprint to win the regular season title. And Larson and Hocevar need to fight it out right now for this final playoff spot. We're back racing, and it's going to be 4 laps to go. And immediately behind us, there's a bit of a stack up. A bunch of the drivers that were involved in that big one are just trekking up, and that's going to probably create a bit of a split in the pack, and it's actually including Larson and Hocevar, who are going to be held up. Look at it back there. Look at the gap, and Larson is directly behind the number 4. Kyle Larson right now, I mean, he's got to find a way to get in front of Hocevar and then as well put at least 1 car between them so then he can make up the 2 points. This is going to be a thriller right here as we head down this back straightaway. Hendrick have brought Larson back just for him to maybe miss the playoffs anyways. As we head into turn 3, we get down to the inside and we're going to do everything we can to try and get our way back into the conversation as Chase Elliott leads the way over Jesse Love with 3 laps to go. But the battle for Larson and Hocevar's final spot in the playoffs is now in full-blown favor of Carson Hocevar right now as we head down this back straightaway into turn number 3. Hocevar started stage 3, 2 points in front of the number 5, and as we approach 2 laps to go, the situation is simple. Larson is directly behind the 4 cars still, and there's a space between the pack they're in and this main group, so right now there's no cars that Larson can even put in between him and Hocevar if he was to get past that number 4. This is a worst case scenario that doesn't look like a solution is coming for the number 5. Look in the back how spread out they are right now, and Larson is directly behind the number 4. Meanwhile, we're coming to the final lap, and Chase Elliott, who's been winless all season, leads at the white flag. Jesse Love looking for his second win. It's Sanchez in third and fourth right there. Both could win their way into the playoffs. There's Parker Retzlaff running up in the top 5. Gonna lose that out to Kyle Busch. Now there's not a lot we can do currently, and there's not anything that Kyle Larson can do. He's staring down the barrel of playoff elimination, and it's gonna come into reality from the looks of it as we head down this back straightaway in towards turn 3. I can't go anywhere from here. We're not gonna, of course, win this race now, but Chase Elliott leads, and he's got no pressure from Love. We have a comfortable gap on Bell, which means we are coming through to win the regular season championship off of turn 4. Chase Elliott finally is going to find victory lane in Daytona. Kyle Larson is out of the playoffs. He crosses the line behind Hocevar, who will make the playoffs by 3 points over Kyle Larson. Unbelievable. Larson, I mean, just an embarrassment of a showing here from Daytona from him and the 5 team. He ends up 31st, 1 spot behind Hocevar, who outscores him today and will go from 4 points out to 3 points in. Kyle Larson's back, but he won't be fighting for a championship. Unbelievable regular season comes to an end as we win the regular season championship by 30 points. And as we know, the magic number was 619 that Larson came into this race to start with, not the 739 you see there. And I mean, just heartbreaking for that 5 team as they will no longer be fighting for a championship. And you see the playoff grid to start the Season 5 playoffs. We're at the top with the 2,040 points to start, which puts us 35 points above the cut line, where Kyle Busch, Rajat Caruth, Eric Jones, and Carson Hocevar all find themselves below that cut line. This is going to be a cutthroat playoff. You see how close everything is to start. And we kick it off at a brand new racetrack from Denver Motor Speedway next episode. I'll see you guys then as we kick off the Season 5 playoffs for 12 races. Thank you guys for watching, and have a great day.